Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the day 2 of the CIO retreat program. I hope you had a very enjoyable and transformational experience yesterday, and I'm back fresh and rejuvenated. The smiles can tell it all. The 2-day CIO Connect program is brought to you by NTT Com, Netmagic, and VMware. Our associate partner for the event is Avaya. The first session today is a fireside chat on the topic, the next big wave. May I invite the speakers on the dais? The session will be hosted by Ms. Seema Ambastha, Senior Executive Vice President, India and Global Sales and Solutions, NTT Com, Netmagic. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. Can I have a round of applause to welcome her?
Thank you very much.
May I also invite Mr. Bhushan Akerkar to join us on the dais? And may I take the opportunity to introduce him to all of you? Mr. Akerkar is the ex-CIO of Hindalco Industries, the flagship company of the Aditya Birla Group. Mr. Akerkar has received his bachelor's degree in engineering from IIT BHU and a master's degree from Clemson University, USA. He is also a certified information systems auditor. Mr. Akerkar has been working for the last 29 years in various roles. He has donned the hat of a CIO in companies such as AC Nielsen, Hindalco, and L&T, as well as that of a systems integrator with Tata Consultancy Services, and has Digital Equipment Corporation, which merged into Hewlett-Packard about 2 decades ago. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming both the speakers on the dais. Over to you, Seema, ma'am, to kindly take the session forward.
Thank you so much, and good morning to all of you. I've had a fortune of having a one-on-one with Mr. Akerkar and learn a lot about Hindalco. For the first time, I got to know that Hindalco not only manufactures aluminum, but also manufactures a big manufacturer of copper, which I had no clue. Yeah. So thank you, sir. It was a great enlightening session for me personally, but I hope this is equally interesting for all of you and fruitful too, right? So I'll get started. First with my first opening question, which has always been a big trouble. So if you look at manufacturing, one of the things that is unfolding for them is also Industry 4.0. And the other initiative is around digital, right? And given the geopolitical and the economic environment, what do you think should be the priorities in terms of achieving both of them and making it more result-oriented?
First of all, namaskar. And good morning to all of you. Coming to your question, I don't see these two entities, as you said, one was Industry 4.0 and the other was IoT, I mean digital. In general as two different entities. I mean, the word digital was coined somewhere in 1940s, okay? And one of the first commercial computers which was sold by IBM was a digital computer. Post 1965-66, I doubt any business computer is non-digital or analog. So why this artificial division into IT and digital and transformation and IoT is something which is yet I am unable to fathom. Having said that, what has happened in the IT industry for the last 30 years? Who have been the torchbearers? The consumers of the IT industry has predominantly been in the BFSI market and the telecom market. Retail, when it became more organized, okay, Walmart, Carrefour, they began using it. However, if you see the manufacturing part of it, you have B2B and B2C manufacturing. B2C manufacturing is are all those people who make maybe say mobile phones or your white goods, and B2B manufacturers are your steel plants, metals plants, okay, for example, or people who are making tires who are used by somebody else. So these B2C people are reasonably well entrenched as far as IT is concerned. However, B2B guys need to do a significant amount of induction of IT for a very simple reason that the competitive landscape there is quite different than in B2C. As a result, the drivers for business in B2B, in commodity business could be commodity pricing. And their EBITDA calculations and their balance sheets are all a reflection and projection of the commodity prices. So unless and until the shareholders tell them that please dealing these and we need a lot more EBITDA than what just the commodity exchanges are telling you, okay, then and only then this will come in. However, having said that, in the form of process control, industry, you can, this is 4.0, but industry 1.0, 2.0, whether you call it or don't call it that way, have always been existing. In fact, I recollect when about 1996, 1997, I was working with Larsen & Toubro's Infotech division, and there we were building a plant, not the Infotech division, but a power plant in Salalah in Muscat. So there was the first time I was called to see that the control systems are going to be IP based. My heart skipped a beat, because you can recollect what type of networks we had in 95, 96. Sending an email was not very certain. Yeah. So under such circumstances, when analog compute, when all the control systems were analog, they wanted to jump into digital TCP IP based control systems. The digital transformation of operations technology had already started. In 95, 96, 97. Process control on the digital side, using digital computers, has already started. There were no more analog computers, slowly and steadily. So from that point of view, I think the most important pertinent need for any manufacturing, even till today, most of the manufacturing companies have two compartments. One is IT and one other is OT. OT comes under instrumentation, electrical and instrumentation, which deals with DCSs, SCADA, etc., etc. Both these networks are separate. There is a need to unite them with proper firewalls, proper security, and there is a need to blend data between the business systems, ERP, business intelligence, all of the financial systems, supply chain systems, with the operation systems, so that the management gets a comprehensive view of what is going on in the plant. Otherwise, we have a situation even today which the business encountered. I mean, non-manufacturing businesses encountered 20, 30 years ago. You had a sales system on HP, and you have accounts receivable on digital, and that account receivable did not talk to the sales systems. Similarly, situation exists today in the B2B manufacturing. So of course, things are changing, and things are changing for the good. So this could be, if done well, without too much of hype, because there are many, we want sustainable waves. Waves come and go. Some waves have sustained themselves. Some waves have fizzled out. Anybody use knowledge-based expert systems? Have you heard of them?
Yes.
Anybody? Okay. So how many have you used? वो 87, 88, 89 में इतना धमाका हुआ उसके बारे में. Such waves have gone. Came and went. But the time, around 2003, there was a very interesting article by Nicholas Carr. I think he was a professor in marketing or something, management in Kellogg or Harvard, where he had said, I think it came in Harvard Business Review, I read it there. IT matters or not, IT को strategic value नहीं है, okay? क्योंकि because IT is something routine. Anybody can do it. Point number one. Point number two, therefore CIO means career is over. Point number three, then what is important? Knowledge. And therefore what happened? People jumped into the bandwagon called knowledge management. And where is knowledge management systems now? Are they there? They are not there. There were some companies which appointed saying that information is not enough, we need a chief knowledge officer. Where is that position now? Not there. So we should not just look at the next big wave, but a next big sustainable wave, which is going to give you a reasonable business value, which will hit the balance sheet. That's what it is.
I would always like to learn, right? I'm not going to, while you have answered really well and demystified, but let me ask you a basic question. Now go back to basic. You led yourself to a question. So tell me, what is it that's going to help them or help industry? Give me 2 accelerators and give me 2 inhibitors. Well, now I understand. Now that you get the whole point and you've demystified this whole digital journey, I just want to know. Yeah?
Accelerators are many a times macro or microeconomic, some things which are beyond your control. But the other accelerator is, as what you said, as what you learned yesterday in the evening, beliefs.
Beliefs.
Can you imagine? I'm just slightly digressing coming to fintech. Go to 1994. There was hardly any internet. You had BSNL giving you that 10,000 rupees for 500 hours. At that time, one person by the name Mr. Patil thought of having a national stock exchange running on VSATs, purely computerized. What was the driver?
Yeah, and it was 9 plus 2 settlement.
9.2. What was the driver? Belief. And why did that belief come? That belief came from the fact that the BSE brokers were just resistant. They wanted outcry on the stock market trading floor. And in 1994, not even the New York Stock Exchange had gone digital. There was a huge outcry system even in the New York Stock Exchange. So, एक accelerator है खुद का belief. You'll always have to see how better I can do. If my commodity pricing or if my business scenario as of now says this is the EBITDA I can achieve because these are the input costs, how much more I can do. This comes from within. The other accelerator is of course the competitive landscape. Unless and until you are hit, like State Bank of India has done very well in IT. But one chairman of a very respectable public sector bank told me when I was in flight that had ICICI Bank not, or had we done our act together well in IT, maybe these ICICI banks would not have seen the light of the day.
Yes.
This was a retired chairman of a very public sector, on hindsight saying. I think it is high time that for the managements of the manufacturing companies to think on these lines and see what can we do better, how can we, cut out competition by servicing the stakeholders in a better way. That is very important. Inhibitors, of course, once again, as we learned yesterday, they are beliefs. One inhibitor is there is too much of confusion, of too much of information. You don't know what to pick. You are trying to be your own doctor. If I go to the pharmacist and tell him, "Hamara pet mein dukh raha hai," he'll give you a medicine which hopefully will not give you schedule H drugs he's not supposed to go without doctor's prescription. But here there is no such regulation. So there is a plethora of products going on, and you'll have to pick and choose, using the right acumen with the right people, which are a little hard to find. So that is one of the a very large inhibitor. And second thing is, of course, inhibitor, which is very natural, comes to the human mind, is the resistance to change, which is there. And thirdly is currently we do not have too many demonstrable case studies where this has really hit the nail and done something exorbitantly well. There are a few, like for example, one very large aluminum manufacturing company in the Middle East. Their CIO said, look, we didn't want all this. We decided to take a very good high-class software vendor from India. We told him we want to build our own manufacturing execution systems, and we are having our own control systems, and he wanted to sell it to us. So there are quite a few visionary people in the market who are doing that. So I think I'm hopeful things would move in this fashion for sure.
You spent considerable time with Hindalco, and tell me what is the Hindalco, in terms of board vision towards digital journey?
Well, of course, since I'm no more in Hindalco, it may not be appropriate for me to speak about it. But the fact is that the digital journey is now we have to combine these two, so that we can get. We were given instructions. Now our time has come to improve productivity. So how do you improve productivity without IT? Just impossible. So you have to integrate a lot of machines. Of course, the challenges in these companies is there are some machines which are 45 years old. Some rolling mills in steel plants, Achenbach and all, they were bought in 1970s and they are functioning very well, German machines. Very tough to digitalize them because there was no concept of collecting digital data. So, of course, the latest plants, they have come with inbuilt, as I said, digital manufacturing execution systems, SCADAs and all. So, but the ultimate aim has been to marry the business data with the manufacturing data, the data on the shop floor, so that productivity, safety, and for example, take a simple thing like suppose an order comes in a steel plant, and there are multiple steel plants. Take a sale, multiple steel plants. Where do you process it? How do you do it? Many times this is done by an outcry system. Telephone call, you have what is called a plant loading meeting every month, and each one says, "Mera plant idle hai, humko de do." Whether producing here would be more cost effective or would be more EBITDA effective, very few people take that into account. Therefore, linear programming, optimization, I mean, the scope is, वो कहते हैं ना कि आकाश के उस पार भी आकाश ही है. Beyond the horizon exists nothing else but the horizon. Therefore, it is infinite. It's just a matter of your imagination as to what you want to tap.
Now, given the scenario, like if you look at China or look at the other big giants in terms of manufacturing, I don't know whether when they went through the digital journey or not, because I've not really seen those economies, but they seem to be far ahead in terms of quality, efficiency, reach, time to market, value. Wondering what is it that's stopping the Indian industries? Is that a digital journey which is, which they haven't embarked when they should have, and there have been a very, what do you call, traditional approach to manufacturing? Or is it that the minds continue to be traditional and there is see, I'm still hearing people go back to SCADAs and OTs, and they're really not talking about those technologies. This has been there for like donkey number of years. They have been disintegrated, which we understand. But there are so many other things in the intelligence analytics space which can give you an edge over your competition, right? But I don't think this industry is still talking about it. What is it lacking? Is it the skill set and visionary thought, or is it data technology? Is it,
as I said, one is intrinsic vision and the other is the gnawing need. You raised the question of whether China and all are ahead in digitalization. I would not comment on that because I don't know enough about it. But in terms of quality, time to market, we are here, you are here from NTT, Nippon Telephone and Telegraph, right? Quality management started in 1945 with Edward Deming and Sheward going into Japan. And we had what is called JUSI, Japan Quality Union. TQM started there. Why did it start there? Edward Deming clearly says that till 1980, America neglected me. Edward Deming was an American. Sheward was a statistician in AT&T Bell Labs. 1980 tak, by that time, Japan had 10% GDP growth rate for 2 decades. 1945, there was rubble, and 1964, they were ready to host the Tokyo Olympics. 20 saal mein. Why? There was no IT there. So it was first mindset. That we have to do quality management using rudimentary statistical quality techniques. Now that what does IT do? It only basically does 3 things. Speed, handles volume, and the manifestation of speed and volume is quality. Because you cannot handle such a huge amount of volume and have quality without IT. So since the volumes have increased, like about 2-3 years ago or a couple of years ago, the SEBI chief, I think I forget his name, Mr. Bhave, Dr. Bhave, he was an IS officer. He was saying it is just impossible for us to regulate anything without IT because the volumes of transactions are so large. Okay, in NSE, BSE. So that is what today, but IT without a mindset is of no use. So in terms of quality management, if you look at you may be knowing better, the quality management circles in Japan have been existing, and they are existing even today, and they have a very different way of looking at things. If you go to, if you want to have a seminar like this, and it is conducted in Japan, somebody will come, will look at the sunlight, will look at the wind, look at all small factors, and then certify whether this venue is good or bad. I tried to do that around 20 years back, and I was told, "Kya udhar ghumne jane gaya hai tumko? Baitho, jaake dekhenge." So this is our mindset. Unless and until we change that dearth for quality will always remain whether you digitalize. Otherwise, digitalization will be just a superimposition on your existing processes. So I wouldn't say anything about China because I'm not knowledgeable about that. But yes, if you want to handle volume, speed, along with quality, then digitalization is or computerization is the is the way to go. I'm using the word computerization because I asked this question to Niti Aayog. I think he was a very senior officer. I don't know whether he's the vice chairman or someone in artificial intelligence conference. What is the difference between digitalization and computerization? वो कोई ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं है. वो computerization है. क्या है?
It's all used with the same.
So only I appreciate his frankness, but the question is, then only thing is that what has happened in the last 4 years is, it is good to have a rebrand. It is good to change you change your shirt and pant. You don't never change it to a dhoti. So the fact of the matter is that I look upon digitalization as implementation of end-to-end IT. Otherwise, IT was always in pieces. Most of our ERPs, most of them, are glorified accounting packages.
Exactly. How do you harness, right?
How many of us who are using Oracle EBS or who are using what you call SAP have had SAP touching the machines? Does SAP or Oracle have that module? When we decided to do that, Oracle ERP about 6-7 years ago, Oracle did not have these modules. So all these things, and in fact, in those 6-7 years ago, there was a fight between the MES vendors and the ERP vendors as to who's going to a turf battle.
Yes, that's right.
So the fact of the matter is, we have to somewhere take a call and integrate.
True.
Do it end to end, and the key isn't end to end. For that, unfortunately, we have to be, as I said, part of the business strategy. Many a times I find for the last 10-15 years, people talking about business IT alignment, CIO IT alignment. Nobody talks about HR business alignment. Hardly anybody talks about CFO and business alignment.
IT alignment.
Well, IT. Either it is misaligned and the others have aligned. I yet fail to understand. Wherever you will find in the business strategy, now HR is also included in the last couple of years, and only in few companies you find IT as a part of business strategy. When I was handling the Nielsen account, I found there the CIO did not have to do any selling. CIO was under pressure not to keep the lights on. We want to launch this, what you need to do, what help you need from us. That's what the MD is to ask the CIO. What help? You need more budget, or you need more people, you need more time, or you need less time. So there was a constant dialogue. It was not this way, okay, this project is launched, arey ye nahi ho raha hai, now you do what you want to do, let's see. So
one of the things that I have seen, I'm not asking a question, just making a comment. Japan has this policy, right? I mean, I just got to know them a little better in the last 5 years. They use IT, they use the best of the technologists in IT, but they don't, keep that as an isolated engine within any industry. They make sure that the business domain guy is well, is center of the IT, and he is providing the insights constantly. And they also rotate these people within the organization to make sure that there is no loss of knowledge and there is no loss in the translation. Right? So it's well understood, and it is actually the business guy who is hand-holding within IT to implement. So this is one of their quality criteria too. It's not purely the technology, because they know that the technology guys cannot get into domain so easily. They've understood it very early. So I would like to open for questions. He's a great person. I mean, it's lovely to talk to this man. He's with lots and lots of wisdom all the time. So I'd like to open for questions, and please, let's give him a mic.
I want to give one example around this business and IT alignment, and I completely agree with Bhushan. And this is, by the way, this is not a theory, this is actually has happened, and I have a first-hand experience. When GE wanted to do, this is back in 2001, 2002, they had a strategy called destroymybusiness.com. They were big brick and mortar industrial business, so they wanted to transform this. And so one of the things they did, because nobody knew what is this e-commerce big babe world, so they picked up few IT leaders from the teams. They created a new e-commerce stream And the best thing they did the reverse PMS, performance management. They had the business SMEs, their performance done by an IT guy, not the other way around. How good they were from an SME knowledge perspective. We talk about, you know, we have to be agile, right? My simple question to a business leader many times is, tell me what you need, not necessarily today, what you need after 6 months or after 3 months. Because if you are going to pivot after 3 months or 6 months, and if I am in a business of creating something, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is IT, knowledge-based or system-based, I need that much of time. This is true, by the way, for manufacturing also. Since manufacturing is a lot more mainstream, there is an understanding that you can't put a factory overnight. So they get the time to implement, okay? That is true with others, including the supply chain, including the marketing piece. You can't have a national marketing campaign within a dime. And so is true for IT also. I think where the issue is, the IT leaders most of the time, they get into the nitty-gritties of servers and this and that and all that, and they miss this big picture of engaging with the business. It is not that difficult to engage with them.
That is correct. What you're saying is perfectly correct. See, it takes two to tango. And I have been on both the sides of the hedge. I have been on the supply side when I was working with Tata Consultancies or with L&T Infotech or Digital. And I have been on the demand side when I have been with AC Nielsen. AC Nielsen, I was on both sides, and Hindalco. I have found that in one particular organization, one department implements IT. Chakka, beautiful, like Virat Kohli playing. And the other, they just scramble, don't, I mean, either they don't want to, or they don't know how to. But if they don't know how to, you can just ask their colleagues next door if they don't want to ask an external vendor. But many a times this has happened. And you are correct that we are more bogged down with technology, okay? Yes, it is true. But it is also true that in some organizations, like when I worked, we were totally welcomed. Our induction was so systematic. The CIOs and the IT guys were so well inducted because the business was interested. You should understand business. Once I was told, you just sit, you won't understand anything because you're new. But like Bhimsen Joshi used to say, "Aap tansen nahi to kansen bano." At least by listening to music, you will appreciate what music is. Maybe not, you may not understand rag, yaman, or you may not enjoy it in the first instance, second instance. But the fact of the matter remains is, there are other organizations in which people say, why do you need induction? Arey, hamara, kya, ye iPad de do na yaar, ye to, this is, laptop has become old. And the issue hovers around because the ITs are rudimentary in how to have a good laptop, how to have a good email system, something basic hygiene, which was the talk of the town 25 years back. 25 years ago, I was asked, why do you need an email system when we have extremely good courier all across the country? That was a very interesting argument. So I told him, your courier takes 24 hours. In some sites, it takes 7 days. But here it will reach in a few seconds, maximum few minutes. He said, do you understand our business? I was very young at that time, 25 years back. I said, sir, what is it? My project is minimum 8 crores. That was the minimum order. Uske niche order leta nahi the, unless there is some political or business pressure. And minimum project time is 2 years. Who cares for your seconds and your minutes? Our courier system is fine. In a different way, with different constraints and paradigms, same objections are many times raised, especially in the IoT domain. Especially in the IoT domain. Why do you need? Everything is working fine.
Don't fix.
That's it. So it is, as I said, but ultimately, as it is said by many people, and also yesterday it was told in the evening, that if your boss is not listening to you, it is your responsibility to convince. So keep convincing. Someday you'll be able to crack the coconut.
Absolutely.
Okay, it certainly is not going to happen by wishful thinking. Simple. It is very, very simple Sanskrit slok, right, which says, Udyamena mahi siddhyanti karyani na manorathi. Just by manorath, your udyog is not going to be siddha. Nahi suptasya simvasya pravishanti bukhe mugraha. Even if the lion gets sold and opens his mouth, a deer is not going to fall into his mouth.
Absolutely, you've got to do it.
So we have to do it. Sometimes you'll get 20% success, sometimes you'll get 80% success. But karna hai.
Correct.
Ilaj nahi hai usko.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. It's been so enlightening, and he's just wonderful. You can keep listening to him the whole day. I think you all have the privilege of interacting with him for some more time. I just want to thank our co-sponsors, VMware, and also Avaya for supporting us. I want to thank Khalida. I mean, it's just a humble thank you for now, and he's just a great man, getting everybody together, making sure this is with content and, have everyone on their ears here committed. So thanks a lot, Raki, for all her hard work, and the entire team behind, right? It was a great learning, right from digitization to industry, to cost savings, to innovation, to leadership yesterday. So I would like to thank for the entire content effort, people coming together. And many, many thanks, endless amount of thanks to all of you for being here, sacrificing your weekend. So thank you very much. I think there's a group photo, and I'll be going after this. You have my contacts, you have my coordinates. I'm very happy to be connected always. So thank you very much. Thank you once again.
Thanks for your time, and thanks for your patient hearing. Thank you.
I would request all of you to kindly join us on the stage for the group photograph. Well, thank you so much, everyone. These are the moments which make memories. And with that, we will roll on to our next session. Requesting you to kindly settle down. And in the meantime, we will take a couple of minutes for the setup for the next session.